I'm going to start, Darby, with you. What's the best part of bringing Clifford to the big screen?
I think the best part about bringing Clifford to the big screen is he's a beloved character that everyone has known and has loved for many years. And so bringing him to the big screen is going to be so special and nostalgic for, I think, pretty much everyone. And he is a 10-foot red dog. So I think he belongs on a giant movie theater screen. So I'm really happy that it was able to come out in the theaters.
Jack, for you, what's the trick to staying focused when you're acting opposite a big red dog that maybe isn't there?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was actually quite easy. Like people keep asking whether it's difficult to do it, with CGI and because it wasn't there and we had this puppet. But the reality is, like, I'd come straight from a shoot where I do this show called Travels with My Father with my dad, and my dad is, and I don't mean this in a harsh way, a sort of volatile 80-year-old alcoholic that only really likes working for 2 to 3 hours a day, doesn't really like leaving the house at all, and hates being on camera. So I went from that to Clifford, and being able to work opposite a puppet of a dog or a tennis ball on the end of a stick is an absolute breeze once you've done 5 weeks on the road with my dad.
And your show is amazing, just for the record. The other thing I love about this is just what you were saying, Darby, about the fact that he is so special to so many people over the years. So, what do you think personifies that? What's the best part of his whole story?
So many things, I mean, he's been around for so many years and everybody knows and loves him. And I think he's definitely going to teach kids and anybody of all ages to love each other, love big, and accept others for their differences, and even to accept yourself for your differences. Because we see how Emily, is trying to find herself, and then finally accepts herself towards the end of the movie, and how we see people accepting Clifford and just love each other no matter who you are or what you are.
And I do love too that he comes to people's rescue. He's often there, kind of nudging everyone along, or getting the hoop at the end of the film.
Yeah, there's definitely a sincerity to the books that I think really resonates with people, and especially in the slightly kind of miserable times that we find ourselves in. It's a book and a movie that's very wholesome. It's all about kind of kindness and compassion, and I feel like that's a nice thing to be putting out into the world right now.
Well, I was going to ask you something else. Is Casey kind of the hero? Because I feel like if Emily's mom was there, I don't know that this whole thing would have happened. Maybe there would have been no dog to begin with. So is he kind of the hero?
I like to think of myself as the hero, but I think we all know that the true hero is Clifford. I'm under no illusions that I'm the hero in this movie. In fact, that was proved to me the other day when they asked me to go down to Leicester Square to unveil a Clifford the Big Red Dog statue for the UK launch of the movie. And I was expecting to be going down and unveiling a statue of myself. No one told me that it was a statue of the actual dog. So I was very upset when I pulled this cord and the curtain parted, and it was Clifford, not me. But it was a timely reminder of who the real star of the movie is.
For both of you, there's so many awesome people in this film. I love the cast, but I have to ask, is John Cleese amazing? Because everything I've seen says he must be.
Yeah, he's amazing. He's such an incredible guy and has this great spirit, and even though he's advanced in years, he still has this kind of mischief and an amazing sense of humor, and I really look forward to every day that I went to work with him.
What about you, Darby? How did you feel about working with him? I know you probably don't have quite as much experience with him on screen as we might.
Yeah, I mean, not as much, but I knew who he was, of course, and I mostly knew him from the Shrek movies, believe it or not. But I was a huge fan of those when I was younger, and even just working with him was such an honor. I mean, I know he's such a legend and iconic. So getting to work with him was just such an honor, and he just has such a presence on set. I mean, he just has like that magical essence about himself, and he's just so funny and kind and a great person to be around.
Well, the last thing I'm going to ask you both is, what do you hope that audiences walk away with? Because I can see lots of families going to see this time of year. It's a great kind of just something different that there's nothing else like it in theaters.
Yeah, I hope that when people see it in theaters and maybe even at home as well, is that when they're watching it almost like an escape, when they kind of forget that about the horrible things going on around the world, and it's just kind of like watching this. It's just a fun, loving, wholesome movie that everyone can just kind of like watch it to escape and then leave the theater, just feeling good about themselves and excited and just happy. And I love movies like that, so I hope that that's what this movie can give to other people.
Do you have anything to add, Jack?
I would say to parents, it will give you an hour and a half peace and quiet. I've now watched it a few times in cinemas full of families with kids who, before the movie starts, are absolutely feral, running around, making noise, chucking popcorn up in the air. And then the minute this movie starts, for an hour and a half, they're totally captivated by this big red dog. And I would have thought for a parent that would be very appealing.
Especially after maybe quite a few months of the kids trapped at home.
Exactly.
Thank you both so much for the time. I really appreciate it. It was awesome chatting, and I love everything about the film. Thanks so much.
Thank you.